Hey, what's up? I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. Welcome to another episode of From the Hat, where we are talking by choice, chosen by random. Another week, and we get a return guest here, everybody. Nick is joining us a second time.
I'm on a roll, man. I just can't. The first episode was so great. I was like, you know what? Fucking book me again. Coming back.
And I was like, absolutely, I'll book you. And he was like, no problem. My rates are, and I had to pay him. So I'm glad he's doing this willingly.
Yeah.
But with that said, if you don't know the show, we pick from the hat, and the number will allow us to associate it with a topic, and we discuss the topic. So, Mr. Nick, tell me when.
No.
Okay. Ooh. 11, everyone. 11. Let's see. Let's bring it up. Boom. Look at this. Personal choices are not social choices. All right. So, insisting that others adapt our personal choices can infringe on their freedom. Well, we should respect different lifestyles. Expecting uniformity in beliefs or behaviors can be harmful to individuals and social harmony. So basically, to clarify, what I believe should not be what the society believes, and vice versa. What are your thoughts? I always throw it to the guest first.
Always throw it to the guest first. What I believe should not be what every. I'm trying to think of what it's like it's a subject that's kind of that's a very touchy subject. You know what I mean? Especially with a lot of the whole entire movement of transgenders and
What's
and Weapon.
What's transgender?
Look it up. You'll find it.
Wow.
But you like with them being in like sports and stuff like that.
What do you mean?
Like where they believe that they should be the only people, like they should be able to play with women or men. So I think that like just because they believe that doesn't make it correct. It's not right. I mean, there's a lot with that. That's a heavy subject, and I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off with it. But it is what it is.
Well, right or wrong, the topic is sort of like if I believe, like for example, hypothetically, if I was just some random person and I was like, I am a Jehovah's Witness or I am a Christian, and I say to you, you have to believe Christianity.
Oh yeah.
That's what it means. But to the transgender thing, being transgender is allowed, but forcing other people to have to agree with their choices is wrong. And however, we should support, but
I have nothing against it at all. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I always
like the black conversation way back in the day.
It could have
been wrong with black people, but
it's just they came out different. But but yeah, man.
Yuli palm colored people commentary down. All right.
But yeah, that's how I kind of interpreted it. It was just that what I believe, like that people like the whole entire thing like that. So
it's all personal choice. That's what
it's a personal choice. And to your point too, with like religion, I had a friend. This is going back a few years ago, and he was trying to tell this one of our other boys that was Muslim that his religion was wrong, and that he's a Christian and he read this in the Bible, and what you have is wrong. And I'm like, bro, you can't fucking do that. Like, you can't do that. That's neither here nor there. What his beliefs are or won't add up to what your beliefs are. Of course not. But you can't immediately shoot somebody else's belief down and say that it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes. We must appreciate and not appreciate, but we must allow other people to live their lifestyle, whatever it is they want to do. If they want to believe, they want to be Muslim, they want to be atheist, they want to be whatever they want. If they want to wear weird clothes, let them wear. It shouldn't matter. And our personal choices and beliefs are not necessarily society. It should not necessarily be social choices. Like, as
long as it's not hurting anybody else,
you
know what I mean. If it's not If it doesn't affect your day to day, then why bother? It doesn't even matter at that point. Just leave it the hell alone.
Yeah.
But but again, you have people that just think that they're correct, they're right. What I have is what is the right way, and what you're thinking is wrong.
Yeah. And as long as they believe that, that's fine. But
Yeah,
it's the doing something. Like I say it often on this show. There are two things I believe. Don't physically hurt people or go out of your way to hurt people, and don't infringe on people's freedoms. Now, obviously, if your freedom in turn hurts somebody or infringes on other people's freedoms, you're obviously breaking the two rules. So, if somebody's like for example, some people like BDSM, right? They like to be hit or humiliated. They like
that's what
being.
that stands for. I didn't know that. Okay,
Well,
no.
wait, you didn't know what BDSM is?
No, I fucking knew what it stood for. Yeah, so yeah, like bondage, sandal, whatever.
What? Well, yeah, or British double stomach. Anyway, but anyway, so some people believe that they're comfortable with that and that's their lifestyle, but that doesn't mean the society should adhere to those lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
But when people start trying to impose their beliefs as again, though, if you tell me you like red and I'm like, nah, purple's the better color, like that's an okay conversation to have. Even if you said you're a Christian and I'm let's say Jewish, like I'm allowed to say I love being Jewish and you love being Christian. But the moment we start saying, well, you what, like you were saying, you're wrong, and if you don't do this, you're a terrible person. Like now, all right, come on, there's no, just walk away because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I think that's across the board how everybody feels like that.
It's crazy.
It's not even just religion. It's we're trying to think of something that's like that won't make the world mad, because that's what we live in. With like cars, like you ever talk to a person?
Cars are racist.
Cars?
Yeah, because wealthy white people owned them, and
yeah. So it's like with cars, like talking to certain people that repair and fix cars and everything else.
Mechanics.
And not even like a mechanic. There'd be some dude that's fucking he woke up one day, he tore apart a bunch of cars that were in his backyard, or he ran around
his backyard.
Yeah, some weird shit. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I know everything about cars.
Yeah.
Or just a guy that reads about cars a lot. I've had that. People find out like, oh, Nick, you have a Mercedes? Oh, I would never drive one of those. Like, oh man, those Mercedes, man, historically are all just bad cars. That's like, true. but I really love my Honda. I love my Honda.
I love my Honda. I got to change it every 2 years.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, come on, man. Like, it's like just to have that kind of conversation with someone. I'm like, I'm not going to waste my breath or even time to talk to someone. Or the funniest thing I've had, especially with that, going back to the car thing, was someone talked to me. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Yeah, you have a, what do you call it, a Mercedes?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Yeah, man, I would never do that. I like Volkswagens." I'm like,
"Can't like Volkswagens."
Really?
The Germans and the Nazis.
Yeah, like I'll sit there and act like, really?
The Winnebago was designed and created by Hitler himself.
Yeah, I'm like, really? So why that? They're like, it's just cheaper car. All the parts aren't as expensive. I'm like, but it's still a German car, right? You know that, right?
Well, Volvo was one of the safest cars of its time.
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't fucking care. Like, I got the car because I like the car. That's the reason why. Like, so.
But that's true. You should just have the car because you like it. Like,
I do what I wanted to.
But not everyone needs to have a Mercedes, just like not everyone needs to have a Honda or should. And it's like,
yeah, or like yeah, I like Hondas because they're American made cars. No, they're not. like no, they're not. No, it's not. That's not true.
They are technically Earth made cars, but
that is it.
Yeah.
Very, very much so Earth-made cars.
I think it's interesting that even the idea that to say that it's not American made, or if it is like, who cares who makes it?
That's another part of it too. I don't really get that either. Like
Like, who cares?
like this like you asked me earlier today. It's like, oh yeah, man. What do you have, a Mac? Like, nah, it's HP. Now I'll go and talk to some people in like where I work at and stuff like that. They're like, God, man, Mac, or that's the superior thing to do. Like, you should just definitely, everybody should use a Mac. If I had it my way, we would throw out all these other crappy computers and only use Macs.
Yeah, only Macs that
And I'm
don't
like, ah,
are
man,
terrible
like,
computers.
how are you going to force that on me? I don't like them. I don't like them at all. Like,
Macs are good for an isolated use. Like, they're really good at editing. They're really good at music. They're really good at processing. But if your stuff is more business oriented, a PC is probably going to be a little stronger. But that argument has slowly kind of shrunk because the technology and the innovations. But Mac has always marketed themselves as a creative tool.
platform. Yeah.
And PCs have always been utilized more as an operation tool, So,
Which is weird. Why people would want to use it for, like, for especially for the business I do. Why would they want to sit there and use that for that? I mean, I understand it. Like, a lot of people have like photos and, I guess, and drone footage and things like that. But for me, I'm not a big fan of the layout. I'm not a big fan of. It doesn't seem user friendly to me, so I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm not a.
yeah, the interface. You don't like the
Yeah, it's a little confusing, so I just stay away from it. But I've had people that will come over to me and be like, "Oh man, you use an HP? So what do you want me? Do you want me to punch you now or later?" And I'm just I'm like, shit. Like, I got it because it's what I'm used to. Like, you know what I mean?
That's funny.
Or they'll look at me like, "Oh, you got an HP computer, but you're using an Apple phone? God, you're a traitor." And I'm like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I had this buddy who was like, it's cold outside, so I'm gonna get myself a nice heated jacket. And then somebody was like, "What are you, cold? You need a heated jacket?" And the guy, my friend, was like, "No, I'm not cold because I have a heated jacket."
Yeah.
And it's like, leave me alone. Like, but when it comes to lifestyle choices and personal beliefs and stuff like that, like, it really shouldn't matter. Oh, by the way, just to clarify, I know why people are like, "Hey, it's not made in America because the money's not." Again, if you listen to the show, I don't believe in countries or borders. I believe in being an earthling and being united as people. And to the idea of saying, well, people in China are different people. I mean, that argument could be said for people in New York are different than Jersey people.
New Jersey, yeah.
We're not chemically, yeah. Jersey lives in a gasoline-induced coma with all the oil and the gas. But it's all jokes, but in reality, New York Giants go, who play in Jersey. But I just don't understand why people have this strong conviction to their beliefs. And if I believe this thing, then those who don't believe it are wrong. And therefore, it's like when Trump and Trump and Hillary, or Trump and Biden, or now it's Trump and Kamala, right?
Yeah.
Kamala. Yeah.
Like comma.
Comma. Yeah. I always apologize for listen. Bellezza is usually pronounced incorrectly. My last name is tortured, so I get it.
When I first mentioned, I thought it was Basil.
Basil Dazzle. That's right. One person called me Thomas J. Barracuda, and I was like, "What?"
That's way off. I would have gotten mad.
I did. It was filmed. The whole incident was filmed. I was doing live stand up, and I was just like, "What did they just go?" Anyway, but like, the people who have their positions on him, and there's a lot of people not being friends because of it. Like, oh, you like Trump? Well, then because you liking Trump equals you are a terrible person.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, no, there's a huge possibility they're misinformed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they are a bad person. And not saying that Trump is or isn't the right choice, but at the same time, their positions on why Trump is right is usually misinformed through misinformation. It's not like they're actually saying the things that matter. It's sort of like I got into this debate with somebody about net neutrality, and they were telling me Obama was an authoritarian because they were trying to control the internet and create, and I was like, well, regulating the internet to allow for people not to have to worry about businesses controlling the speed of the internet, so you are forced to pay for higher rates, right? And also it was giving the freedom to be able to use the internet and look at whatever you want without restriction, meaning like if you wanted to watch inappropriate porn, you can. If you wanted to post certain things, you could, right? What?
Actually, I'm big on that.
Yeah, big on that.
Just watch all the porn you want.
Watch it all. So they were saying that that's an authoritarian move, and that it's government overreach, right? And then I explained, yeah, but when Trump basically threw that out, he got rid of net neutrality. It was because he wanted it to have restrictions, which it does now. There are certain countries, certain states that have restrictions and limitations on certain kind of material. Yeah, but the prices have changed. There's a whole bunch of other things that are informed with that, but they didn't know that. But they were on this. He is an authoritarian because he wanted net neutrality, and it's like, yeah, but net neutrality was to make it so it's not restricted, it's regulated, to allow for no restriction.
Well, people tend to find that one little nugget of the wrong and then harp on that, and they just want to sit there and hold on to it.
Wrong.
Well, I'm just saying, well, what their thought process of it is, because like I've said before, like people interpret things in their own way, and they just want to sit there, and some people just want to scream. What I'm getting at.
What does that sound like? No.
I'm about to say, I thought you were saying something different. I have somebody tied up in the basement.
That's fine. Let me tell you something about Star Wars. That's Mr. Plinkett. So, yeah, but those ideas, those stances, those personal beliefs, they can cause a rift between people because they live in these uninformed, echo chambers, or these places where they have these deep beliefs, and they will die on the hill of that belief, trying to get you to believe in it.
Believe it as well.
Yeah. Like, I never care if somebody likes Trump but like, to use the wrong words though, I'm like, well, I don't understand what you're saying, because you're not saying, you're not using the right words. You're saying he's authoritarian. You're saying he did it to control it, but it was actually to open up a freedom of, like, you're not, your position is not using the right words. You're almost proving my point by using the words
that are
He made it so anyone could use it without restriction. He overreach. It's government overreach. You're like, no, that doesn't sound like government overreach. I find
that to be funny, man. Again, but you don't change people's minds. You just kind of roll around with what they think, and people that don't agree with that sort of thing, they get mad at the other person. They're people be friends for like 30 plus years, and then find out that they like don't agree with their thought process, and all of a sudden they hate each other.
they're like, I thought I knew you.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, dude, you were there when my fucking first kid was born, and now that you know I support this person, or I don't support this person, that like now you're mad.
Well, both my parents were they voted for Trump, and I was just like, okay, like,
do again, like I said, do what you want to do. As long as it's, again, nothing that's going to enslave me or keep me do something wrong towards me.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
What is something someone could do to you that you would consider extremely wrongdoing towards you, but also it is not a big deal?
Something that's extremely wrong towards me?
For you, like, they do it to you and you're like, that is the worst thing they could do, but in reality, it's also like not a big deal.
I guess it would be, and I don't mean this like for anybody that's like gonna bump into me and be like, oh, the Nick said this and I could do that. Like, I would think it would be like if somebody like took money from me, I'd be able to make money back. It would piss me off because then I would be late on a lot of bills and everything else, and
Yeah.
that would do wrong to me. But if somebody took money from me, I'd be able to. I know I work hard enough to be able to make that money back, but that also in my mind would be like, all right, that's not a big deal. I'm going to make it back, but I also know where to place that person and know that
you'd be like, they're out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wouldn't. I'm not going to go and hunt you down and kill you for, $50 or $60 or $100 or whatever the case may be.
$101 maybe.
Yeah, $101 is you're done.
Yeah, 13 pennies.
You're done. You're fucked. If it's a quarter, especially if it's like 1982.
Yeah,
done. But yeah, like that. I think that would probably be maybe the worst thing. Because I was going to say, like, what if somebody stabbed me? I guess that would probably be it. But then again, I could die. So
yeah, but like that's also not that is a big deal if someone stabs you as well.
Yeah.
Like it is one of the worst things they can do to you, and it is also a big deal.
That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal.
So I think someone took money out of your wallet because they needed lunch.
Yeah. If you stole money from me because you needed to buy, like you have, a kid in the car or something like that, and you're like, yo, I took the money because I needed to feed my kid or feed myself for that matter. I'd be like, oh, all right, man. Like, I'll be pissed off, but I know I can make that money back to replace that. And then I guess also too at that point in time, it's like, what would make you not just come to me and be like, hey, can I borrow $20 or can I have? Because if you're not going to give me the money back, don't say you're going to borrow.
Like, that's always like, can I borrow?
Yeah, like no, I know you're not giving me this back. So
it could be
can you have
pride, or like I don't want people to know. But the question I was asking though would be the equivalent of taking that situation where they took the money out of your wallet to buy lunch, but then they came back later that day and gave you the $20 back. It's just they didn't have it. So that makes it not a big deal because like no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But the fact that they took your money, so like that would be the worst thing that someone could do. It's like, oh, you stole from me. Oh, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like that's what the question is, sort of, like if you slept with my wife, anyway.
Like, you slept with my wife? You didn't come and get me?
Going back to personal choices are not social choices. Before we end the episode, if you were with somebody like a partner for an intimate partner for a potential future together, what is one belief you feel they should also incorporate, and what is one belief that you wouldn't be willing to embrace that they have? So the question should be clarify. You have a specific belief, whatever that belief is, and it's a requirement for them to also have that belief for you to be in a healthy relationship. Just one thing. And then in turn, what is one thing that they have a belief in that would automatically make you not be with them?
I think one belief I would have is that they would have to as well, is that if we're going to be together, it's going to be a team. We have to work. We have to work together. So that means like if you're short on this, I'm always going to be there to back up. Always going to have your back. Like, I guess this is bad too, but if you're wrong, I'm always going to be there still to like be the
have your back.
Yeah, I got your back. I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong, but I'm always going to have your back. You know what I mean?
Having that person was wrong, but we're going to say you didn't. We're going to say you didn't.
But I think that's like a major thing that I can't bend or fold on that. I've seen people be like, oh yeah, if I'm in a relationship, it's 100%. Everything is all on this one person, and it's like that's unrealistic unless you're like Bill Gates. So like, and and Bill Gates got a divorce, so there's that. So
like, and he's still wealthier than everybody.
Yeah, like just putting the wealth aside, like just to have somebody to talk to, like because mental health is just as important. Like if
Yeah.
you're not mentally there, you can't do anything in life. So I think uh, one thing that you have to have is be able to have a team, be able to say everything that we're going to do from here on out is me and you. It's a team.
Teammates. And
Yeah.
and you're not saying necessarily that they have to do what you need them to do. You're saying that whatever each of you do, you support one another and help one
Yes.
another. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just that's 100% it. Like, you gotta be able to have each other's back in this crazy world of anything that's going on. You need to know that you have at least one person that will be there.
One person. And what would be the thing that your partner believes in? The one thing that your partner believes in that you would be like, all right, I can't be in a relationship with this person because they have that belief.
I guess the same thing where it's all on one person. Like,
oh, like if they believe that. All right, well, let's take that off the table because that is the thing you need. That's the thing you
that's the thing you
need.
need. Okay.
Yeah. So
one thing that would. Oh man, if they like fucking peaches, man, I hate peaches.
I mean, I like eating peaches, if you know what I mean, but I don't like peaches. What do you mean?
One thing I'm really not sure. You know, I feel like a lot of things you can kind of adapt to and move forward with in life. So I guess one thing, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah,
Like if
really,
they believe that they're allowed to hit you because they're a woman and you're a man, you'd be like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It depends where though.
Well, you know, they could hit you no matter what.
You can't hit me in the face.
You can't hit the moneymaker.
Yeah, the moneymaker.
or the baby maker.
Yeah.
or
no.
the
I guess that is a good that is a good point. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not putting hands on you, so why are you putting hands on me? So yeah, that would probably be a big deal breaker. But I wouldn't go into a relationship think like until you said that I wouldn't. I've never been in a relationship where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to beat this bitch up if I get home. And like I've never had that. So yeah, that's yeah, that would be something that would be definitely a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to come home and be like, oh man, do I have to put on the pads for my face today? Like,
yeah, like what's going like, you know?
Yeah, you know. I have seen those things where people get into a relationship with a guy and they get beat up, and I'm like, why? Why are you staying with them? Like, oh, you know, what was that thing the guy says like, oh yeah, you know, I see something in them, and like round two, like there's nothing there's nothing that you should be with that person for. So that's or if you're somebody that's going to degrade someone, degrade your partner, or like tear them down.
People who believe it's okay is
like if you sit around and your emotions get the best of you, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what, you're ugly. Like, the fuck I want to stick around with you for then? So that's
like why are you with an ugly person?
Yeah, you know, like I gotta look good at some point.
I like when people say, I hate you. Well, then why are you with me?
Yeah.
Because I love you. What? Just because I love you, I have to love you. My big thing is if you're gonna invite me into your world and disrupt my peace, I don't want anything to do with that choice. Meaning, like, don't bother me with your BS. And what that means
is make your problems your big problems.
No. Like if I was with if I was in a relationship and they hypothetically, not that this ever happened, let's say I'm just sort of like enjoying my day in the house, and then my partner comes home and she's like, hey, can you come with me for a second? And I'm like, yeah, sure, what do you need? And they bring me over to like the kitchen, and then they look down at the drawer and they say, could you I don't know, could you open this drawer? And then like I open the drawer and I'm looking at it and it's utensils, you know, and they're like, what is wrong? What is wrong with this drawer? You know, and they look at me like, you know, and I'm like, I don't know. I am I'm actually kind of confused right now. What's going on? And they go, see this spoon? And they do that move where they like, right? And they go, see this spoon? All the spoons are just that spoon. Just, and then they do it again, just that spoon. And I go, yeah. That spoon is backwards. It's supposed to go this way. And I have already told you that all the spoons are supposed to go this way. And now that that spoon wasn't, it means that you did it on purpose because you know that my ex used to do it and he used to hate me and you did it to hurt me.
Oh.
I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with. I can see that. Because at first I was going to say to that, like, if I knew it made you mad, I'm going to keep doing it.
Oh,
it's gonna.
It was worse than that. I didn't even think about it. I just put the spoons away. I washed them and then I put them away. And apparently, the other one, again, hypothetical, not that this ever happened, but they would go, I noticed you didn't put the mat up. I noticed you left it on the floor, the wet map. You didn't hang it on the rod in the shower. And then I would be like, no, I did. And they go, well, why was it on the floor? And I go, all right, well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't do it this time. Well, why would you do that?
I forgot.
I may have forgotten. I don't know. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't if I had done it, I don't believe I did do it. But if I had done it, it was not intentional. Right. And then I make the conscious decision to never use the mat again and just dry myself in the shower and then continue to be yelled at for leaving the mat on the floor, even though I am not even using the mat anymore. It is in the constant state of hanging up unless only one other person in the house is using it. And then I'm being yelled at because it is on the floor because I somehow left it on. I don't need that. That is disrupting my peace. I don't need I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that needs the house to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it a certain way, do it. If I end up not doing it a certain way, then just fix it because I fix a lot of the things that people do, right? Like I live with someone now where I have OCD, so I like the cups and everything to be organized, but I don't care if they don't organize it. If they just kind of throw it in, I'll just adjust it.
Yeah.
But I won't bother them with it because it's my issue. I have the OCD. I don't need them to change their selves because it's not important that the cups are organized. It's just it's a behavioral tick that I have to. But you know what I'm saying? Like I want.
I love it. Now I'm going to come over to your fucking house and we're going to just rearrange all the cups.
You can do that once. And then I'll be like, Nick, I moved. Oddly enough.
Where'd you move to?
No.
Where'd you move to? Why are you being nosy? Why are you being nosy?
Oh, I moved to the address is none of your business. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's a weird to me being with somebody and like you have to deal with their stuff. There's a difference between like if I was with a girl and she's like, look, I need the spoons to go this way. And I go, yeah, all right, that's fine. And like, I make the attempt to make sure they're that way. But like, if I don't do it that way, like it's not an intentional attack on them, but to be yelled at for it, like that is where it starts getting weird to me.
Yeah. I can see if it's just like, oh, you did this again. Wow.
But yeah, you keep putting the spoon in wrong. That's getting a little annoying.
Belittling type of situation. I just don't think that belittling anybody would be even
like when my wife complains about my girlfriend, like leave me alone.
Yeah, you weren't complaining the other day.
Yeah, you weren't mad the other day when she gave me a gift card to your favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
For the record, I am polyamorous and I am not married. So,
I thought you were married.
No, I don't believe in marriage.
Oh,
it is a no for me.
Like, you know what? I love
marriage and children.
Let's get the government involved.
Yeah, I'm okay with having kids. I just don't want to have kids. If that makes sense. Like if someone has kids, I'm okay with that. But if I don't want to have kids, though. I don't want my genes to move forward in life because I don't want to torture the world with my genetics any
Okay.
more than I have to. So that's just a personal choice. But so if a woman wants a child, I'm okay adopting. But if they want my child, that's where it gets really
It's gonna
iffy.
be yeah, it's gonna be a long.
Yeah,
You're screwed.
you're screwed. But I also don't believe in marriage because it's not really a choice. It's a manipulative mechanism for control and financial gain for a system. I mean, for example, the engagement ring was made through the investment of blood diamonds. So to make money on the African caves that were discovered, they started implementing the concept of the engagement ring. Not that it was invented for that; it was invented before that, but it was only extremely wealthy people that would do an engagement ring, just sort of ceremonial. But once the blood diamonds were invested into the mythos or whatever, they started advertising and doing marketing to manipulate the public to say that this is how you show you love somebody. Specifically, it has to be 3 months of your salary, right? So to me, if I'm with somebody, I am married to them. Like if I'm committed to you, we're married. And the thing that has always messed me up, and this goes back to political, personal choices and social choice and stuff, is I was with a girl for 5.5 years, right? And one day she turned to me, like basically right near the end of our relationship, and she goes, "How come you've never asked me to be your girlfriend?" And I'm like, "We've been together for 5.5 years, you know." And she was like, "Yeah, but you never like asked me."
Officially axed.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "But we are like we're together. Like we have talks about the future. Like like I don't understand." I was like, "All right, do you want to be my girlfriend?" And she's like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Okay." And then directly after that, for the next couple months, she started doing things like she started finally being jealous. She started giving me rules. And I was like, "This isn't where I want to be. This is weird to me." And
You
that's
could have.
how I look.
You should have been like, this whole entire time I could have been sleeping with other people.
I know, right? I didn't know that. Jesus.
Like,
I mean, she was.
oh,
But anyway, and again, I don't care about that if you're open about it. Like, oh, I want to see this other person. Well, go have fun, as long as you're just honest with me, because it's polyamory, right? But at the same time, if marriage dictates confirmation of something, I don't want anything to do with it. Like, if you need to be married to me to feel something like this proves to me, then I don't need it. But if it's something that's ceremonial, just sort of like, if it's something pure, then I'm interested. But like the title element, like that's weird to me. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, there's I've bumped into a lot of people that feel and believe that way. So,
well, yeah, because like, what is the difference between being in a relationship with someone, especially for like, let's say 5 to 10 years, versus we are married? Like, what is what? And obviously, you get the answers like, well, you get tax benefits and stuff like that. But what is the actual difference, though? Like, what is on paper? How does the relationship change? Not the benefits of it.
now you can lose money.
Yeah, not for men. Yeah, we could lose half our money. But what is the benefit of the title?
I don't know. I guess just to say that you're together.
But aren't you together before that?
Well, people also like the big party that you have.
Again, if you want to have a party, you want to make it celebratory. It's like a representation of your love, and it's not just about the bride, but it's a union of these two personalities. The wedding represents both individuals. Like, the guy has some say in what the wedding is or looks like. I have a friend who, I was talking about this the other day on an episode. They were allowed to add tater tots to the wedding. That was it. Because the wedding had to be very specifically what the bride wanted, because it was always going to be her day. And it's like, that is not marriage. That's the start of something, and that to me is insane. We should be celebrating each other. And that to me, I'm for. If you want to have a party, you want to get people together, you want to celebrate your love, and it's both of you, Like I had a friend who got married and it was a Halloween party. They both love Halloween. They both love dressing up. That wedding was theirs. Like that was a beautiful representation of love and commitment and communication. And
Yeah.
rarely do I see something like that. You know what I'm saying?
He was allowed to put tater tots.
I'm just saying, isn't it?
That is funny as hell. That is, he's like, yes,
I got my
yes,
tater tots.
yes.
But it was such a intense victory because of the debate that he was showing everyone the tater tots and telling people try the tater tots.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you got to. Just like the whole entire wedding, you just say, hey, those tater tots. Check them out. Matter of fact, bring me a plate. That's funny.
Are you for that though? Are you like, look, if it's a wedding, it's for her, so I don't even have to be there. I'll just show up to stand at the end.
Yeah, no, I am for that. I think if it's going to be a wedding, everybody, it should be representation of like both of you.
Yeah.
But then there's also comes that point where I think that sometimes the guy doesn't want to get involved with it. He's just like, oh fuck, I got to taste another piece of cake.
But why don't they want to get involved? And it's usually because of the way it has been manipulated that it is not even, they're not important.
Okay.
You know,
I never thought of it that way.
I mean, you have the bride who gets the wedding dress, right? You have the bride who walks, you know, they walk in, you don't, right? More importantly, you get a tux, right? And no one cares about your tux. It's all about the dress. In fact, there's a show called Say Yes to the Dress. They don't say yes to the tux. Right? And then it's like a lot of the choices are always based around just the bride. And it's which I always find interesting because the actual story on that is that it's showing off what I just quote unquote won. You know, it's because it was an exchange of a tithing of land and wealth.
I'm totally derailing this whole entire thing. Has there ever been? Is there ever a thing where like the male is like, you know, celebrated like
today? No.
Intensely, like because you're saying like how it's mainly about like the woman or
in modern day, no. The man is the quote unquote patriarchy that is grossly misused in not the way that it is actually delegated. Like for example, if we lived in a patriarchy, then women wouldn't have a right to vote for the people they want to vote for, and there would be no women in government. But there are women in positions of choice, from judges to senators to House representatives, and we also may officially have a woman president. But the point is, she is vice president. So, but the idea that it is a patriarchy, meaning that there's no input from anyone but men, that's a little kind of loosely used. But in today's society, our modern society, men are not necessarily celebrated on the grand scale, but we do have micro celebrations. You know, the people around us are the people who love us, but traditionally they would rather pick a bear over a man if you walked into a woods randomly.
I know for father, since I'm a real estate agent, I remember when I first got into the business, they had come to me and told me, they're like, you know, there's two major holidays. One of them is Thanksgiving and the other one is Mother's Day. And I was like,
what about Father's Day?
What? And they're like, yeah, Mother's Day, like nobody ever wants to go out and see a house. Nobody wants to go out and take a look at a house. They all want to be with their mothers and everything else. And I was like, what about Father's Day? They're like, yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that. Like, yeah, it was just like, nah, who gives a shit about that? That's just another day. Nobody gives a fuck about that.
I wouldn't necessarily say everybody, but the majority of our society does not approve of any validation towards men, to the point where, you know,
it's weird.
It's very weird. It's very weird, and we're not celebrated, and I don't think we should be celebrated. I don't think anything should really be celebrated. We should appreciate the things we want to appreciate, but like as a society, I don't think it should be mandated for celebration. I think Like today is Christmas. It's like, no, if you celebrate Christmas, you should be able to. And if you want a day off and you celebrate Christmas, enjoy your day off.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
But to digress, it is weird to me that in most situations, if not almost all, men, there's nothing that we are celebrated for.
Yeah, when you said that, it made me think like briefly, like, is there anything that's like celebrated for us? And I was just like when you were talking about like the whole wedding, I'm like, oh wow, that is kind of like, yeah, you're kind of right. Yeah. So that's where the question came from with that one.
Well, let's see if the internet has anything. So it says men are frequently celebrated for their roles as leaders and innovators. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Physical prowess, being strong. Oh, great.
Cool.
Bravery and sacrifice. Oh, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Artistic contributions. I don't know if that's necessarily true because we're being pushed out of the creative fields.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, what? Look at who's writing. Look who's directing. Look who's producing. Look who's being cast. Like just for television, film, and then if you look at books, somebody told me women don't get published. So every time I go to the bookstore with my girl, we walk rows and rows of authors that are all women.
Oh shit! I didn't think of that.
And very rarely are they men, unless they are the old school, the old guard, where it's Martin or Stephen King. But it's just King. You can just literally just look at the wall. It's just celebrated, fatherhood. Yeah, I don't think that's true. And intellectual. I think this is more of a genetic list, and not, because we're talking about celebrating as in like
like having
a day for them that's would reverent, like Father's Day. Like we don't have a Father's Day really. We have a Father's Day, but we don't have.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a kid, so I definitely don't have a Father's Day.
You don't know that. You're not pale. You're not a palm colored person. So the stereotype is that you do have children.
I hope not.
Because I saw you walk with a watermelon once, and I had to place all the hate that has been instilled in me through.
I don't like watermelon.
Who does really? Who likes watermelon? It's not even made of water.
It's more melon.
It's melon. It's
seeds.
What is your least favorite stereotype, and what is your most what is the stereotype where you're like, yeah, I get it?
I don't know, man. There's some good ones.
But what's one that you definitely are like, yeah, no, and then one you're like, yeah, no, I not only do I believe that, but I live that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta like, this is an off guard question. I guess the one that I don't like is just that all black people like watermelon. And I really hate, I detest watermelon. I fucking hate it. I cannot stand watermelon. Or then there's also the fried chicken thing. There's times when I've gone to some parties and they're like, yo, Nick, you gotta try the fried chicken. I'm like, try this. Like, I get a little upset. I'm like you know I was going to try this fried chicken, but I really
I was going to try.
Yeah, I was going to. Like, it's one of those. But I do like. And then also the grape soda thing. I don't really like grape soda.
Yeah.
Grape soda. Not. Yeah. I don't really like that taste. It reminds me of medicine. So orange soda, Keenan and Kel.
What are white stereotypes? Let's see what stereotypes. Well, what do you think some white stereotypes are? Because, like,
if they smell like mothballs when they get wet. I heard that.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, I heard
that. Is that true? Do they?
I don't think it's true.
What 10 stuff white people like? I guess that would be a stereotype, right? Let's see.
They don't season their food. I'm like, what? You go down south, some of them white boys will throw down on some food out there. You mean
Yeah.
they don't season their food?
I'm
So
not necessarily white, so I don't know. I'm Mediterranean, but I'm pale, which is annoying because then everyone says I'm white
you're white. Yeah, you're white.
because I'm pale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mediterranean. Have you seen Mediterraneans?
Yeah, I know. We've had this discussion. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Don't make me prove that I'm African.
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking playing with you.
Look, being pale, that's colorism.
That is colorism.
Yeah.
You didn't. What is it? The melanin monster didn't get to you.
Yeah, because there are light-skinned black people, or I should
Yes.
say brown people. Actually, I should say orange because brown isn't even a color. It's brown is a form of orange, but
Like an
brown.
orange person. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
I've heard that too, and I'm like, no,
I think I was the one who showed you, and you're like, no
yeah, I'm like,
way.
man,
And I was
fuck
like,
that. You black. Like,
I don't know this. Well, I can tell you Italian stereotypes, like Sicilian stereotypes. I like the they're family oriented kind of thing. They're loud and family oriented. Like I can accept that. That's one of those. Yeah, no, that's me. Like that's a beautiful part about the Sicilian. But I would almost say that culture exists with most cultures because
yeah,
yeah, you know, and I think that's a beautiful stereotype.
Spanish culture, they have that.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Asian culture, I
Asian
guess.
culture, very family oriented.
Yeah.
But one that I don't like is the hey Goomba, look at my chain necklace. Hey, I got my white shirt on, my hair sticking out of my chest. Like that, I don't like that one. That one I don't like.
I think that one is the best.
Visually, very good.
Yeah.
But when I see an Italian in a movie and it's just like the Italian guy and he's like, "Hey, I'm bibbity bobbity boo," and what's up? You want to go on a date? Yeah. And they're always pulling their shirt and stuff. They're like, "Yo, I'm into you. You're into me." Like I'm like, that's not. That's like doing the Indian voice to be Indian. Like it's not.
You gotta. Those man, racism is funny. I mean, that's all I can say. I just think it's funny.
I mean, it can be very funny until it becomes physically violent. But
man,
but the humor, the vocal humor.
Yeah. And you also can't take everything to heart. You got to be able to laugh at it.
I agree. That's why I like Sleepless and While You Were Sleeping. There is a very stereotypical Italian in that movie.
While You Were Sleeping.
Yeah, with Sandra Bullock and Bill.
I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Very good movie, romance. It's it has your standard beats and everything like that. And Peter Gallagher's in it as well. He's the guy who's known for his eyebrows. But the caterpillar eyebrows.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, but I still like that movie. But when I see that character, I'm like, because. Like as a writer myself, I had this question asked to me the other day, like, how do you write female characters? And I was like, I don't write female characters. And they're like, oh, you don't have women in your story? I go, no, I don't write characters based on outside first. I start inside. I go, what is their emotional truth? What are their motivations? What is their character arc? Where are they starting and how do they want to end? And then from there, I start designing them. The design is the aesthetic. So are they tall? Are they short? Are they tan? Are they pale? Do they have long hair, short hair? What color is their hair? Like all that is unimportant though.
Yeah.
Like in reality, if I'm on the page and like I'm like, oh, I want a black guy with long dreads, a very strong jaw. Like I haven't written anything interesting yet.
Yeah.
There's no story there.
There's no character there.
Yeah, but if I take away even just thinking it's a black character and I just go, what would be interesting? All right, somebody that is they start off with wealth and predetermination, and it's all taken away from them when they go away to school and find out that their family died and their money and stuff was taken from them.
This is the black guy. Go away to school, prison. Well,
no, because if I said black, then that could lead to a biased choice, a stereotypical choice. But if I start with that story arc, then at the end, and I go, they're a black family though. But then people are like, well, you have to write the black culture. No, I'm not trying to write cultures in my fantasy world in the sense of your culture, because my fantasy worlds have nothing to do with Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are dark skinned, it doesn't mean they are quote unquote a black person from, say, America, or the States, I should say, or from Africa, or from, wherever, Guyana, they're not Guineas or something, or from, whatever the case. So their skin tone has nothing to do, because it's fantasy. I can make up their culture however I want. Skin tone does not dictate culture, right? Culture dictates culture, because somebody who grew up in New York is not going to have the same culture as somebody who grew up in, say, France. And if let's say they're both the same family, though, let's say they're 5 generations separated, their cultures are still manipulated by their surroundings. So the French family, even if they're black, it doesn't matter, is going to be different than the New York family that is black French people, right? And George Carlin said it the best. I don't call people African American, because where are they from in Africa? Because if you're from South Africa and you're a white person, do I call you a South African? And if you're black from South Africa, are you a South African American, South American?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, South African American? He's like, no, you're not. Africa is a continent. If you're from the Congo, you're from the Congo. You're not from,
People
you know what I'm saying?
There's a lot more to Africa than.
Yeah, but we don't call ourselves American. Like, oh, I'm American. No, we say, oh, I'm like American Italian. Well, why am I American Italian? Because I come from Italy, right? But Italy as a thing is right. But I go, I'm Sicilian because I come from Sicily. But if you come from Africa, Egyptians aren't called African American,
which is weird,
because they're African.
Yeah.
They are from Africa.
Yeah.
But they're also pale skin, right? Some of them they are dark, they are tan to, they are slightly dark to pale skin Egyptians. That's the way the skin is, because where are they from? The Mediterranean area, right? So which again is, I'm Mediterranean, but I'm also Sicilian, so I should technically be much darker, but I somehow
you just don't go
got
outside.
zapped.
You just don't go outside.
I don't go outside. I don't burn when I go outside. I tan. Like I tan nice.
I've seen you with a little bit more
with a little tan, right? A little color.
Yeah.
I don't think we could use that word. Color.
Oh.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the stereotypes and like the genealogy and culture. Like, well, it's like, if I'm working on a character, I start with who they are from inside, and I think that's how I like to approach people in general. It's like when I meet you, I don't meet a black person. I met you, and then what you said, how you said it, because on the outside, people, because I think when you first came, you had kind of baggy-ish pants, and the friend you were with, right?
Definitely questionable character.
Questionable, right? But not only are you one of my closest friends, but that other person, when you asked me to help them and sit down with them, even though they sort of kind of like vanished, I did sit down with them without question, because I wasn't approaching you, entering my life as a black person. You were a blank slate, and I just wanted to know who you were. And clearly we get along. We have a good personality mix, and
exactly.
Yeah.
But 100%. I think, and that was kind of a surprising thing for when I first met you.
Why?
I don't know. Like, you get so used to so many different weird looks, and you kind of become used to it. But I think the embrace of being able to hang out with somebody who can sit down and crack a joke, and then also give you some words of wisdom at the same point in time, where it's just kind of it was a breath of fresh air. It was totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely that's why I've always kept in touch. Even every once in a while, just give you a random phone call. Sometimes I'm drunk. Just every once in a while, just give you a random phone call. You know what I mean? And whether it be like early in the morning or like afternoon sometimes. So, but that's definitely appreciate the friendship.
Yeah, and I think it's important if we go back to personal choices before ending the episode. It's like we need to approach people as blank slates, and it's okay if people have different beliefs, and if they do, we really just have to make the choice: do we want to associate with this person or not? But it's not our job to dictate that they have to change. You know, it's the same thing with relationships in my mind. If you're with somebody and you're like, I don't like what they're doing, like you tell them you don't like what you're doing, but they don't have to change. And if they don't change, you don't have to stay with them.
Stay with
In
them.
fact, yeah, I implore you leave, actually, because you should have your boundaries, and if you have those boundaries and you're with someone who, it's not that they don't care, but there are certain things, like, for example, my OCD is a tick. You know what I'm saying? It is, and it doesn't always activate, but sometimes it activates, and then I have to clean or I have to do something, and it's aggressive, but I don't place that onto other people.
Yeah.
And so my boundary isn't you have to clean and keep things organized. That would be inappropriate of me to place that on another person. However, if I lived with a slob, I would not be able to live with them because I would be too messed up, but I don't expect them not to be a slob, if that makes sense, because I believe solely
in, you already know what that personality is.
Yeah. Whatever. All right, Nick, how do people find you if they want to find you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just look up my name, Nicholaus Tomlinson. I'm on Instagram. Don't use it much, but I will follow back. I actually got to get back into using it more.
All right.
But yeah, that's pretty much that. Hopefully,
and you're a real estate agent, right?
Yes, I am a real estate agent. So I do work with Long Island. I am all over Long Island, and I do parts of the city as well. Manhattan.
What about Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, Queens.
What area of Brooklyn?
What
area of Brooklyn?
I do all of Brooklyn. I do Brooklyn, Queens. I could do Manhattan. It's just once you start getting, there's certain houses I can't really touch because I have to have a different MLS and things like that. But yeah.
Wait, what?
I have to have a different MLS for like certain ones that are in the city.
Oh, so when you get your license as a real estate agent, there's certain areas that are associated with that.
Yeah, like they combined everything together. But I still, sometimes people will tell me about a certain house and I try and pull it up and I'm like,
because it's outside your purview.
Yeah. So,
what is Brooklyn actually called? Do you know?
Do I know? I don't know.
Do you know its real name?
No.
Brooklyn Kings.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it is Kings and Queens.
Oh. Okay.
See that? Do you deal with houses and locations in Diker Heights?
Diker Heights. Yes.
You do? Actually, I want to move back to New York, but I also want to be able to afford the last few years of my life. But
there was a job. We this is when I was on the team. We did have a listing that was in Diker Heights, and that house was beautiful, man. Like you could see the bridge and everything from where it was at. It was a very, very nice house. Didn't sell though, so
it didn't sell. What are they doing with it?
Yeah, they still have it. So
how much does it go for?
He listed it. It was a little high. It was probably like eight something.
Oh yeah,
the taxes for that were like $1,500 or $1,600 because he had something that happened after 9/11. They were able to put a hold on the taxes, and it kept him low for, I think it was like 10 to 20 years or something like that.
Oh, now he's paying the back taxes.
So now it's gonna then it'll kick over now to start effectively going back to what it should be.
What about rentals
in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
I don't really do many rentals, but I do work closely with people that do rentals out there. It's just like anything else right now. It's an arm and a leg. You know what I mean?
You want to buy a house together, and then I'll live there, and then the upper half we could have somebody live in the upper half, and rent that out, and then as that house the value we can refinance and buy more houses.
That sounds like a plan, man. We'll talk about that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the day Nick and I became super wealthy.
Yeah.
This is the plan. This is the path. Anywho, thanks again, Nick. I always appreciate you being in my life. And obviously I'll get you back on to another episode. Until then, for everybody, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. This is From the Hat. We are talking by choice, chosen by random. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Later.